friends here. One of them is a regular pioneer, and another one is a publisher. To interview them, they happen to be a mother and daughter team, you might say. Sister Adriane and Sister Eleijah Saplinski. And they are pretty involved in the return visit work, so many of us are as well. We want to see what makes these two particular ones successful and what makes them tick. Now, we are always making return visits, but there are certain ones that we need to really schedule for. And what schedule do you have in making return visits when it's those particular ones that you are calling back on who have shown interest?
I try to schedule return visits every time I'm on service, but to make sure that it's a specific return visit, I'll set up an appointment. I'll let them know I will be back in the neighborhood on a certain day. And that way they can expect me and I don't have to get rejected, so I try it like that.
Oh, that's excellent. And what about Sister Eleijah? Does she have a similar method?
Well, the majority of my return visits are kids who live in the same area of the neighborhood, and I try to visit them at least once a week on the same day, and that way I can usually find them home because they'll expect me to be there.
Oh, very good. And does that work out pretty well for you?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Very good. Now, as far as preparing, you don't prepare just when you're in the car group, right? As you're going to the return visit, you do something a little more than that, I would think.
Yeah, I do. To be honest, this is like the most nervous part of the ministry for me. Because when you preach, you teach. You're preaching. The return visit, now you have to teach. So it's me thinking of what am I teaching so that they can build on. So the preparation comes when I'm there, leaving them a question, or even listening to something that's on their mind, something they're concerned about. So when I prepare, I think of a video. I always have my tablet with me. Or I think of an article that I could use. And lately we've been finding, honestly, that the study guides, we print them out, and we've been leaving that with our return visits, and we've been finding some success with that.
Wow, very good. What about you, Sister Eleijah? Do you have anything to add to your preparation?
Well, I also find some study guides on jw.org for my older kids, but for the younger ones, they really enjoy watching the Caleb and Sophia videos. And each time I see them, I try to share with them something new about Jehovah's personality. So I might read them something from the Learn from the Great Teacher book.
Very good. There's some good ideas there. Now, let me ask you this question. When you go back, of course, there's always a challenge. How do you deal with the challenge of trying to find them home again?
Well, it's a twofold challenge because sometimes you find them home and they're busy. And so I tell myself not to just debate the next time I can come because I find I lose a lot of time that way. So I try to make sure that I teach them something when I'm there. Even if they're busy, just something to leave them. We've changed our schedule up a little bit where we're out in the evenings a lot. So we've used that as an opportunity. Everybody walks in Easton, so we've been walking a little bit more too. We found them that way. So we're just trying to think of creative ideas for the territory that we live in.
Sister Eleijah?
Well, sometimes my kids might be running an errand with their parents or for some other reason they aren't there. So if I don't get them on my regular day, I'll try to at least see them once a week, so I might go back on that Saturday.
Oh, wonderful. And do you feel you have a fairly good success rate, or it continues to be a challenge?
Honestly, I'm pretty busy with return visits. My ministry, sometimes I have to look and say, you've been doing a lot of return visits.
Good. And you?
And I find out they're usually at home, so I can usually be able to get them.
Good. Join up with these sisters a little more often. Maybe mine will get the idea to be home a little more often. Now, what about experiences? Have you had any good experiences through all this effort, Sister Adriane?
Yes. sometimes when you don't get your return visits at home, I try to make sure that I speak to whoever's home, or even a neighbor on the porch. And as a result of that, I've gotten a few more return visits that I call when there's one girl now I'm calling on 13th Street, is because someone else I went to see wasn't home. And she has a lot of questions. We've been sharing the videos with her. And there's quite a few others, but I'm not gonna take the time up to say it, but yes, we have some success with our returns.
And what about Sister Eleijah? You have some experiences?
Well, one of my kids who was really interested, in fact, when she went to church, she made a survey and asking all the kids what they thought of it. And she has a younger brother and sister, so when we brought her some literature, she went through each one of the books to figure out which one each of them would read. And when we came back, her brother said that he was reading his book, he figured out Jehovah's name, and when we came back again, he had a few questions. So we were able to share with that, and we'll go back and talk to him about that too. And one of his friends in the neighborhood asked us for the book, and we got it to her, and she was so happy to get it.
Wonderful. So we want to thank the sisters. Isn't it nice to have a meaningful